We are now going to examine a special and very important type of variable, the psychosocial construct. It is the type of variable which is commonly studied in research in human sciences.
In this section, we will look at the content listed as number 3. In particular, the construct, which cannot be observed and measured directly. In this lesson, we will focus on the unobserved variable, which is also referred to as the underlying or constructs. This lesson contains 4 simple steps. In this lesson, you will learn about the nature and characteristics of the most commonly used variable in theory building and testing. You have to download the attached virtual banking questionnaire to facilitate your learning. First, what is a construct? It is a variable. Remember that we have come across variables such as age, income, and religiosity. It is easy to observe and measure a respondent's age, income, or religion directly. Constructs are variables that can only be measured indirectly. Examples of constructs are learning motivation, poverty, sexism, racism, political affiliation, and many other concepts in human sciences. There are many difficult variables. While it is easy to get the answer to one's age by simply asking the question, "What is your age?" we will get no satisfactory answer to one's learning motivation by doing the same thing. Similar concerns prevail when we try to make sense of the occurrence and incidence of people's intention, loyalty, satisfaction, trust, privacy, technology adoption, religiosity, self-efficacy, self-esteem, leadership style, or students' adab. The response that we get from asking one question may not be adequate, reliable, or valid. To better understand the student's attributes, researchers normally post a set of related questions, covering all aspects of learning motivation. How then could we measure and use the psychosocial constructs in research? Let's now have a look at 7-section virtual banking questionnaire. The contents of this questionnaire would help us to clearly understand 1. The difference between the observed variables and the constructs, which are measured indirectly. 2. The operationalization of a construct. The virtual banking questionnaire contains 7 sections. As indicated by the subheadings, the sections are: 1. Personal variables. 2. Perceived usefulness. 3. Perceived ease of use. 4. Behavioral intention to use. 5. Perceived security and privacy. 6. Perceived experience, and 7. Subjective norms. What do we have in section 1, which entitled Personal Details? Let's see if you could figure out the answer to each of the following questions. 1. Are there any variables in this section? 2. How many variables are there? 3. Is male a variable? Why? 4. State the name of each variable. If you manage to respond correctly to the questions, then you have mastered the meaning observed variable. The correct answers are: 1. For the question "Are there any variables in this section?" the answer is yes. 2. How many variables are there? 4. 3. Is male a variable? Why? No. Male is one of the 2 possible values of gender. 4. State the name of each variable: gender, ethnicity, age, and occupation. Psychosocial constructs are variables that can only be measured indirectly, thus the term unobserved variable.
Let's go through on the 3rd section of the questionnaire. Section 3. Perceived ease of use. What's your take on these questions? 1. How many variables are there in the section? 2. How many are directly observable and measurable? 3. Is there any indirectly measured variable? 4. If yes, name it.
You are perfectly correct if you think that. 1. There are 5 variables in section 3. 2. There are 4 observable measurable variables. Each observed variable is an item or a statement, which is accompanied 5 categories of response. These are the observable variables because we can concretely either ask the question or in writing, and also we can get and record the response from our respondents. 3. There is one psychological construct, which is perceived ease of use. Perceived ease of use is not an observable variable. We will not ask our respondents to react to subheading. Our respondents are not required to indicate their disagreement or agreement to the subheading. Actually, this construct, perceived ease of use, is collectively represented by the 4 observed variables, that is the 4 items. Therefore, the construct is indirectly measured using the 4 items. It is right to state that the 7-section virtual banking questionnaire contains 29 items, or observed variables, and 6 constructs. What we have are 1. 6 personal variables. 2. Perceived usefulness. 3. Perceived ease of use. 4. Behavioral intention to use. 5. Perceived security and privacy. 6. Perceived experience, and 7. Subjective norms. So what? Why should we be concerned with constructs? Categorically, we need constructs in order to 1. Adequately capture the meaning of the blurred at the edges concepts, thus the validity of the measure. 2. Enable consistent data to be extracted from the measurement. 3. Enable researchers to use constructs, rather than individual variables. A researcher tests or generates a theory on the basis of interrelationships among constructs. A profound theory explains the causal relationships among a few constructs, instead of relationships among individual variables. Constructs, rather than individual variables, are the overarching pillars of a theory/model/approach in human sciences.
Look at the 6 constructs that we have in the questionnaire. These constructs could logically and substantively be linked. This means to say that we are expecting possible relationships among them, most likely cause and effect relationships. Accordingly, the researcher may then simply and precisely create one research question. As an example, we can have the question as: does one's perceived usefulness of virtual banking influences his or her intention to use the technology? A similar line of thought could be treated to other links or relationships.
Let's self-check. 1. Formulate 3 research questions related to the intention to use the virtual banking model. 2. State the general objective of the study. Possible correct answers are: RQ1. Does perceived usefulness of virtual banking influence respondents' intention to use it? RQ2. Does perceived ease of use influence behavioral intention? RQ3. Does perceived ease of use influence perceived usefulness? The objective of the study is to examine the determinants of intention to use virtual banking. In summary: 1. Construct is a variant of the research building blocks. 2. It measures abstract concepts such as motivation, achievement, brand loyalty, job satisfaction. 3. The variable is also referred to as a construct, latent variable, underlying factor. 4. It is difficult, and not advisable to use single items to represent the unobserved variable. 5. Theories are based on interrelationships among constructs,